Hey everyone, good afternoon.
Hey.
It's good to see everybody here today. Aaron and Veronica Benson, and we are coming on for the next 5 days. We're going to be
Yep.
sharing some brief messages about really going into the next year with momentum and focus, and just feel like you have some successful things happening for you. So we're just going to talk today about empowerment. But first, have you ever heard anybody say it's not fair? Like
I've said it.
I say it. So
said it.
I'm not. I say it's not fair all the time. And so we just wanted to talk about that a little bit today, about kind of taking responsibility for your life and how empowering that can be.
Yeah. I think, when we were going through the things that we wanted to cover and things that have helped us, we thought, this is definitely one area that we've tried to start to change and we've seen great results with. And if you take on some of this and you start to put into practice some of these things, that the end of the year can be fantastic, but 2018 can be amazing. So that's what we're talking about today, is taking on responsibility for what we're doing versus saying it's not fair and kind of placing the blame somewhere else. So I don't know, it's a good topic because I think so often in life we come across situations or things happen to us where it isn't fair. Like when you say, maybe your kid says, it's not fair, and what's the comeback? Well, life's not fair. Like we say that, and it isn't. Life isn't fair. There are things that are going to happen that we can't control. But I think the main thing to remember is that sometimes the only thing we can control is how we feel about it, how we think about it.
I actually think the only way that really we can be successful in life is to realize that it is up to us.
Yeah.
We're responsible for our lives, our results. And I've noticed in my life, when I come from that mode of being a victim and feeling like life isn't fair, I don't really move forward. I stay stuck. And the way to get unstuck is to realize that it's up to me. I have to take care of what happens internally for me to move forward. And I've just learned, I think that's a really important lesson for all of us to learn. In fact, when someone does say it's not fair, we kind of look at them like they're kind of complaining or whiny a little bit. And I've definitely been there.
Definitely.
And just found a lot more value out of being empowered and realizing that, it's up to me. I got to take responsibility for my life.
Well, I think when we talk about being in that victim space, we feel helpless. We feel like there's nothing we can do to change it.
Definitely.
And sometimes there isn't. Sometimes you can't change a situation, but the only thing you can change is how you feel about it, how you talk about it. Those are the things we want to work on that you can change. So about 10 years ago, well, let's back up even further. When I was young, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, a brain tumor. And so I grew up knowing that this, at some point could take her life. As a kid, you don't really think about it too much. But definitely as I got older into a teenager, I thought that. And I kind of questioned, what's going to happen in the future, not being sure of things. And almost 10 years ago, coming up, her anniversary, she passed away after a 20-year battle with a brain tumor, with cancer. And for the next 10 years, I spent a lot of time feeling like, this isn't fair. Like we say that, like, this isn't fair, or it's a situation that you can't really change. You can't change the outcome. I couldn't bring her back, but I just was left feeling like I had no control over the situation. And a lot of times that would come when we would be out. I would see like a mom and a daughter kind of out for the day, having fun together. And that's where I would be like, man, I'm totally got gypped. Like I'm missing out, that feeling, And so I know other people have felt this. And if you've felt this, you know how you just feel hopeless. Like there's nothing I can do to change it. So one day, this was earlier in the year, I decided that I didn't want to feel this way anymore, and that I wanted to take back control of my emotions, take back control of how I felt. And so I just started writing down. I got out a piece of paper and I just let it all out, literally. Like I just let everything out. And most of it was really really negative, really ugly. You know, I allowed myself to feel the feelings, which you're going to have to do. We can't escape how we feel. Allow yourself to feel the feelings. I wrote it all down. Excuse me. And then I went over to our garbage can and I started ripping up this paper, all of the junk that I had gotten out. And I looked up, and on my fridge was a picture of my mom and a picture of Jesus. And, you know, he's my higher power. And we always tell people, connect to your higher power, however that is for you. But I looked up and I saw these two pictures, and I just felt like, I just have to give this to you. I cannot hold this any longer. It just was too much for me to handle. And I just wanted to be able to like hand it over. And as I ripped up this paper and I threw it away, I felt so light. I felt like, wow, for the first time in a lot of years, I felt like I didn't have to carry that burden. And you might be feeling that way at times too, where there's something you can't control, but you don't want to play the victim anymore. You don't want to allow that situation to control you. And that is one way that we teach our clients, is to write down all the things that you're feeling and to get rid of it, because it really did help.
Well, and it allows us to get out of the way the negative emotions that are clouding our ability to see and to create what kind of solutions we can find to get that momentum to go forward. And it can even be, you know, we can even say it's not fair to our higher power. I mean, we definitely feel like that at times in life, like it's not fair. Why is this happening to me? So we found that the better approach is to get those emotions out of the way. Let's take care of those so that we can move forward and get the results that we most want to get out of life. And so we have one action step each day that will be on here this week that we're going to share for you to consider, and that we really have found for ourselves to be really valuable. And that action step for today is to come up with a one-sentence statement called a declaration or an affirmation, where you just affirm that you are going to take responsibility. So it may sound something like this: I am responsible for my life.
Yeah.
And it eliminates the excuses and the things that interfere with our progress. You say it a couple times a day. I am responsible for my life. It doesn't need to be that exact sentence, but something where you say every day that it is up to you. It is within you. We believe that there's something about you that makes you different. And we can do a better job seeing how we're different, in the sense of us all working together towards a common goal of improvement and feeling better about life. Yeah. And so that's our one action step we wanted to share today. Again, we're talking about empowerment. So Veronica's experience with her mother and her passing, we can definitely see how disruptive that could be and feel in life. Like it's not fair. Yeah. It doesn't serve her or me or my kids, though, for her to be in that mode.
Well, and I think when we're in victim mode, we aren't looking for solutions. We're just looking to pass the blame onto somebody else. Like, it's not our problem. It's not our fault that something happened, and maybe it's not. But we're looking to pass the responsibility. And your judgment is clouded. Your creation is clouded. Your creativity to come up with new things. Because you're worried about, this hopeless feeling. How do I get rid of this? And you're just kind of passing the buck. But instead taking it back to yourself and saying, okay, I can feel this, and then move forward with something new, with that creativity. I think when I think of what's the opposite of victim, and you guys can post it below, but I think of creation. A victim just wants to pass the blame. Yeah. They're not coming up with anything new. But creation, you're a creator. You're coming up with something new. You have new ideas, and that can't come when we don't take responsibility for our emotions.
I love that thought. Victim, opposite, creative. Yeah. Love that. And it is as a coach and a trainer, as a mentor, both of us doing this, it's one of the problems that we see is that people aren't able to see what solutions they can create for their challenges. And a great way to do that is to get those emotions out of the way. We have got to learn how to feel better. And part of feeling is realizing that it's okay to be angry, but if you're going to allow your anger to continue, or your frustration, or your stress, like overwhelmed, you're not going to be able to see what you can create, because you're going to feel powerless. And that is victim. Powerless, hopeless, not fair, not my fault. And we learn this, that it's difficult to make progress when you're in that stance. So consider the action step we've given you today of writing out a 1-sentence statement that you will say a couple times a day, just to get your brain focused on what you want to have as far as your outcomes go in life.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, post them below. We'd love to answer them. But take this first step. We can talk about all these different things. We can talk as much as we want. But until you decide to take action, that's where the magic happens. Like, that's what will bring about change.
Action is greater than intent. Because intent is great, but when you take the action, you put a deed out into the universe that keeps the universe moving. That's how the universe moves, as people who get stuff done. So go out there and state your declaration and see the power that it brings to you. Power yourself up and take control internally with what you can control. All right?
All right, guys. Have a great day. Bye.